Welcome back. Today's discussion, decoding the brand triad. In this short clip, we'll talk about the definition, how it works, finding gaps or opportunities, and how it can help your company. If we look at the definition, first of all, it's both a tool and a process. As a tool, it helps an organization step back and reflect about their business model. It also helps you benchmark your current position and, in turn, understand efficiencies. It's a process because it starts with a model, it helps chart locations, and basically locates gaps or opportunities. There are three aspects of the triad. Attributes, which is the inherent characteristic of either your product or service, and levels of acceptance for use and consumption. The second aspect is behaviors. It's a type of reasoning that a consumer goes through when considering your product or service, and also the basis of that relationship. And finally, circumstances. It's all the surrounding events that go into and are considered during a purchase. So let's talk about how it works. First of all, we have to start with an equilateral triangle. And each of the points is represented by one of three aspects: attributes, behaviors, and circumstances. Now, each leg represents one of these elements. Each leg also has a scale, where the center, or 0, is perfection, and as you move either direction, it becomes less preferred. Your goal then is to strike a balance between the two. So let's look at a real-world example of how it works. Imagine you walked up to a vending machine, and perfection for you is a Hershey's candy bar. But you look, and you notice it's not there. Now again, your goal is to strike a balance between the attribute or the product and the behavior or your desire. 0 is the core, or Hershey's. Since it's not available, you look for the next best thing. In this case, a Snickers bar. Unfortunately, those are gone as well. So you look again and you find the next possible closest option, which is a power bar, again a health bar. You can see how you've moved from perfection to something that's less desirable, and it also impacts your experience. The key really is finding gaps. Let's take the airline industry as an example. You know, if you're out there speaking with passengers after they got off an airplane, and you also surveyed them, you could identify the basis of competition and be able to rate those importance. Again, through either observation or survey, you can, in effect, locate gaps in the offering. By doing this, and if an airline takes the initiative, they could actually reduce their costs and improve the experience. The key is people actually are looking for things that airlines not necessarily are offering. In this particular case and in this graph, on-time delivery and fun is more important than food and comfort. Now, if you took that information and plotted it on a radar graph, you can naturally see that XYZ point shows what customers really want versus what all the airlines are offering. So by plotting this data, you can quickly see the competition, what the travelers' preference are, and if you observe them, there also is a marked difference between what people say and what people actually do. So let's move on to the triad chart. As you see, we've plotted all 3 points. Between attributes and behavior, we seem to have struck a balance. The airline industry and people's desire to fly match. If we look at behavior, or B2C, we can see that people are modifying their behavior to use this particular airline. And finally, between attributes and circumstances, the circumstances are actually not conducive to travel and is actually a little farther away. So how can you use this chart? Well, recognizing that there are some things that are controllable and uncontrollable. Change as much as you can to move people back towards, or change those methods or circumstances to get people back towards balance. And the same holds true with behavior. Changing someone's behavior is very tough, but if you change the approach, it's possible that you may be able to modify or get closer to balance. So in part one, we've looked at the definition of a brand triad. How does it work? Looking at finding gaps, and conclusion, it can help your company because by identifying the location where you're at, you can modify or change your situation. If you'd like to learn more detail, you can go to www.brandtriad.com and buy the book Brand Triad, a toolbox for strategic brand assessment and repositioning. Please come back for part two.